Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 26 with the Colorado Rockies. In our previous episode, we completed another off-season. If the roster looks pretty familiar, that's intentional. Our one, Justin Jarvis is new. We picked him up as a minor league free agent. He's getting one of our starters this season, we think. Let's look this way. I think it's easier for me to see who's new and who isn't. Luis Sanchez is a Rule 5 pick. Got a lot of upside, but also for right now, for this very second, he's not the best because of his low control. We expect him to walk a lot of hitters, which is why he's avoiding high leverage. I just want him to get reps in the major leagues, and then next season, once the Rule 5 status is off, we can potentially consider sending him off, actually. You know what we could do, guys? So that I don't have to think about it, because thinking is for losers. That's what I've always said. We can do the acquisition view, and it'll tell you when I acquired them. This is way easier than just trusting my admittedly feeble memory. Diego Cartay, we signed last season to be our backup catcher. I think it's a role he's filling quite well. We acquired Alfonsine Rosario in the Rule 5 as kind of a fourth outfielder type, with hopes that he'll be even better here in Colorado. He's probably in the majors too soon. I don't know why. This is something I've actually noticed with the AI. The AI tends to keep people in the minors for way too long. Somebody who utterly destroyed low A should not have been just promoted to high A. There isn't that much of a difference in skill level in the two places. If somebody is, like, dominating, you send them to double A. Yeah, unless somebody is, like, the bluest of blue chips and you want them to take their time through the minors so that they continue to develop and so they don't have any major injuries, I guess that's a reason to do it. But when somebody dominates the league that well, you don't want them staying in the minors that long. You want to make sure that a player is challenged at every step. If I take a player who has the right skill levels and the right abilities and just have him repeat double A, he's going to look like he's amazing. It's because he's facing older competition. It's because he's facing younger competition as he gets older. Everybody looks great when they repeat the league, unless they're totally hopeless. So the key is not to have players repeat a league too much unless they're either really young for the league or unless they're just stuck. Unless they're just not able to contribute, and if that's the case, you might want to consider trading them. So, because in this particular series, I am getting a little bit more... Let me move the microphone a little bit more. Because this particular series, I'm getting more involved with the minor leagues. I'll kind of share my philosophy as we go along. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not even saying it's perfect. But I am saying that it's the way that I've done things when I do take the time to run the minor leagues. A nice thing with him is he has a very low development risk, which means he is less likely to flame out. If his power gets to where it should be, I think he'll be a nice piece. I don't think he'll be a starter necessarily. Why is Diego Cartaya grumpy? Why are you a grumpy person? Because you want to be a starting catcher. Well, Drew Romo is one of the best catchers in the league, so how about you put a sock in it, okay? The whole fucking sock. Yeah. So those were our main moves last season. Nothing terribly thrilling, but we're not really at a part where we can push the envelope yet. I think there is every possibility that we can make the postseason with this roster the way it is, because like so many young teams, we're relying on our younger players to get better. That's where our team develops. That's where our team grows. A world in which Charlie Condon builds on his success from last year is a world in which we're a far more efficient team. We're a far better team. In a place like Colorado, I think 40 home runs a season is very reasonable. I think it's even more reasonable to have more than 40 home runs a season, but that's kind of where we are. Um, just checking the comments on various videos. We had the late great Harry Carey, or Carey Harry, if you will, commenting on one of the Baseball 101 videos, saying that the best knuckleball pitchers had their own personal catchers. That's very true. Um, like Tim Wakefield had. I think Jason Veritek is the one who usually caught him. I was trying to remember if it was one of the backups, but it wasn't. That's an example off the top of my head. Um, yeah. What else do we see here for the OOTP series? Chance Underwood, 8943, commented on the last video that it wasn't clear. I'm sorry that that happened. Whenever something like that happens, I ask you to be as clear as yourselves as possible so I know what to fix. If it's something I didn't understand, explain well, just let me know. If it's like an audio issue, if it's a video issue, that's what helps me make the videos better. So, unfortunately, I don't have the kind of time in my life to do a lot of editing on my videos. I don't have a lot of time to reshoot videos. So, anything you can give me is super helpful feedback. So, hopefully, Chansey will reply to me at some point in the near future, and then I can make better videos. Hopefully, this one is working well. But those comments are always appreciated. Just be as clear as you possibly can when you say, this video isn't clear because I didn't understand what you said at this timestamp. I will also acknowledge I don't have teeth. I have dentures, but they don't fit. And as we all know with the American medical system, it's really expensive to get them to fit. So for now, I just don't wear them. That may mean that it's hard to understand me sometimes, and I apologize for that. But hopefully it's not too disruptive. So, comments over. Let's go ahead and begin. I have an email. Oh, we found a free person here. Okay. Any minor league stuff I need to mess with? I don't think so. I always like sorting, by the way. I always sort by potential. Like, I don't really care if somebody's really good right now. We do have two pretty good starting pitchers that I want to give a little bit of a longer leash in the minor leagues, in Domingo and Ozuna. Ozuna's an example of the opposite approach, right? Ozuna's somebody that actually pitched very well in Double-A. I could have sent him right to the majors. The reason that I didn't is because he's not quite 22. I think a little bit of seasoning in AAA is precisely what the doctor ordered, but he succeeded at every level of the minor leagues. I wish the walks would come down. I mean, I always wish out for most of my pitchers, but for him in particular, it seems to be a real struggle for him. If that's something he could work on, that would be great. I could do this. I could do this. I could have him work more in control, but he already is working more in control. So hopefully that'll help over the course of time, because we do need pitching. That is something we're going to have to almost certainly develop homegrown, as we do for everything else. For Vic Domingo, his track record is far more volatile. He's got every possibility to be a better than average starter, but it's going to take time. And especially because he struggled so badly in AAA last year, I think letting him repeat the level, even though he is a bit older. One thing I think it's important to break your assumptions on is you're not looking for Hall of Famers with every pick. You're looking for contributors. You're looking for somebody that can do something useful for you for however many seasons, and then you move on. It sounds very mercenary, but that is the world that we live in Major League Baseball. You rarely see players stay with one team. That's both because the players want to make more money elsewhere, but it's also because players have a shelf life. Not just I don't just mean people retire. I mean, certain players only do well in certain environments for so long. And knowing when to move on is an important skill. It's an important thing to think about as you're playing through. It is a skill that I have not developed. It is something that I'm actually quite bad at. I tend to get attached to players. I tend to give people long-term contracts when I probably shouldn't, which you've already seen in multiple series at this point. And that is kind of where we are. So, All that said, let's get some baseball in. Let's see how things go. Guys, we're clearly going 162-0 this year. We're undefeated. Best team in the history of Major League Baseball. I will take no criticisms whatsoever. Seeing Bryant Millam develop is actually pretty handy. Let's look at him for a bit. What I like about him is he is a very, very good defensive catcher. Like, he literally was drafted last season. He's already in AAA. You may recall at the end of last episode, we really aggressively promoted a lot of our catchers to get them experience. He is somebody who could be an otherworldly backup catcher. All he needs to do is work on his offense. But I feel pretty good about him, and I think that's a nice improvement to see there. Mason Albright got better. Lucas Gordillo has improved his velocity, which isn't always a good thing, but it seems like he is pitching more effectively. We always want as many starting pitchers as possible because the Rockies are always going to have high rates of attrition. Nolan Schubart, who was just drafted IRL by the Guardians. I think that's who. Yeah, he was just drafted by them, which is kind of fun. Some people getting worse. Luigi Casilla losing velocity isn't the end of the world. It's not a good sign, but it's not a bad sign either. Sometimes, like, over the course of a pitcher's career, they recognize, because I throw so hard, I can't put it where I want to, or they're burning out too quickly, so losing velocity isn't the end of the world. It does make a pitcher more marginal, but marginal pitchers are kind of where we're going to be living at for right now. We just don't have that much in the tank. Nothing else too crazy happened here. Okay. One feature I would love to see in OOTP at some point, I would like it that if a player is shortlisted, they always appear on your player development report. I just think that'll be a nice quality of life thing. Carson Palmquist is probably not going to happen. He's probably not going to make the major leagues because he's just not very good. And he's already 27. If he was going to be a major leaguer consistently, he would have done it already. I know last year he wasn't bad, but that may be the extent of his major league contributions, but we'll see. Despite the fact we will almost certainly not be undefeated, we have to keep playing baseball, unfortunately. Damn. Already lost. Disgusting. We got Braxton Fulford back. This actually makes me really, really happy. I want him because it gives me more reliable catching, which is pretty important. Where do we slot him in is the question. Double A only has one catcher. I think that's where I'm going to put him. Kevin Fitzer is just not good enough. He's already 26 years old. He hasn't ever had a great season in the minors other than 1 year in A-ball, and he would have been 25, so he should be obliterating A-ball. I think we can probably safely cut him. I'm going to try trading him just for the lulz, but nobody's going to want him, right? Nobody's going to accept him because he's just not very good. But hey, you never know, right? Okay. So Kevin Fitzer, thank you for your service to the Colorado Rockies. We'll send you a nice fruit basket. You can go there. Is Fauski No, Fauski is struggling and has never played in Double A, so I'm going to demote Fauski, and we're going to put Fulford in AAA, which I think is his best place for now. So he and Milam can feed off of each other, and that'll give us options if something happens to Cartaya or Romo. You can never have too many catchers in your minor leagues because catchers have a very high attrition rate. Okay, we've got a bunch of people who got to make decisions on. Okay. Let's go down to the bottom here. Alright, who did they say? If I simulate it again, it'll tell me. Alright. Ray Garrett. I mean, his contact is way too low. I'm not even gonna bother trying to trade him. I'm just gonna release him. Who else? Brian Mina. He is who he is at this point, and who he is isn't major league caliber. Get out of here. I think it's one by one, but it's hard to tell. Maybe if you know, by the way, if there's a quicker way to see people that are needing to depart, that would be great. Leandro Arias, he's just not very good. Sorry. This does open up other slots, which is the other reason I'm doing this now. This is the chance for us to get rookies into the short season leagues, and then get people in the short season leagues up to AA and things like that. Rafael Ramirez Jr. He's really good defensively. I think he's worth keeping for that purpose. He's actually really good defensively, but I don't have room for him. And nobody in AAA or AA is so terrible that I can just outright. Maybe I do release Judd Fabian. I feel like this is a particular infatuation of every single season because he does have some on the surface, he looks like he's not that bad, but he just hasn't developed for me. So I think cutting Judd Fabian is good. And then Jordan Yost is going to stay in AA for now. We could promote somebody else, though, like Jason Fiorentino, who is older. I could also just shove Ramirez into AAA, which sounds like a terrible idea. But I think that's okay. Mendez here. Mendez is the third baseman that has no power. There just isn't any value in that for me. It feels especially cruel because the guy's injured, but oh well. Who else? Jackson Cox. Don't be Jacksoning your Cox, you'll go blind. He's a really good clubhouse guy. I think there's value in keeping him for that purpose. I'm being texted about something. Oh yeah, I know what it's about. Okay. I'll worry about it later. But I knew there was something else I had to do today. Okay. Topic for another time. Actually, Connor Stain is even more likely to be cut than him because he's even older and has never performed well. So you're a stain on the organization no longer, Connor. And then Jackson Cox can be promoted, where hopefully his clubhouse attitudes will help us out some. Jordy Luciano and John Beller. Here's John Beller. No interest to me. Wow, he actually did pitch in the major leagues. I completely forgot about that. He was pretty bad at it, too. The definition of a quadruple A player, probably too good for the majors, but not nearly good enough. Or too good for the minors, but not nearly good enough for the majors. And Jordy Luciano is probably quite similar. Yeah. It happens, right? It very much happens that players just don't pan out. That's why I swear as many of them as possible. Okay. So rather than promoting people from short season A, I want to promote people in the rookie league that seem like they need some opportunities. So we're going to do Rangel. The problem is I don't really have the older... Here we go. Here's some of the older players. Renzulo, Pimentel, Mesa, Nascimento, Ramon, Pineda. Brilliant. Okay. I need to step away for a moment. I'll be back shortly. All right. So, that's that dealt with. Let's continue on, and I'm sure I'll get another notification here shortly. Yep. Edouard Carinos. Alright. Yeah, you're getting hammered in the short season league. Like, it's not particularly close. I think you're just done. Unfortunately. Eliezer Pena. Again, we can just let him go. Although he's actually performing fairly well. So this is what I mean. This is the kind of thing that tends to stunt development if somebody has a great pedigree to begin with, although if we look at his past scouting history, he was always kind of shitty. But this is what I'm talking about. It's something the AI tends to do, and if you're not careful, it will do it eternally. He spent, 4 years in the rookie league. That's too long. He is performing well he did perform well last year. There's a non-zero chance he might be an okay reliever in the higher minors. I don't have room for him. Away he goes. And there were two more, I think. Wilder Dalis. He is worth keeping. He is very much worth keeping. Okay. Jason Jones isn't. This should count, by the way, for like resetting his clock, so to speak. He should be able to play in high A for a little bit longer. And then there's one more player. It was Leonardi Almonte. I do not know what that sound is. I apologize. There's like a low hum happening right now. Okay, seems like it's going away. That's weird. Probably somebody doing something outside. Yeah, you suck, dude. Away with you. Who do I want to promote to A-Ball? We'll do Roman Kimball. We'll do Derek Schaefer. We'll do Austin Turkington. And we'll do Ben Barrett. I don't want the really high ranking players to be promoted yet, not until they've had some more experience. But that's the next steps, right? That's the next big thing. Alright, now we should be able to proceed without any further interruptions, one hopes. I can get a drink of my soda. Or pop, I should say. Okay, Michael Toglia is back. So this creates an interesting dilemma. And it's one that I knew was coming. Like, I knew this was going to happen. What do we do with him? I mean, obviously, we replace Kelvin Hidalgo. Or maybe obviously not. No. We have Carrig, who can play a bunch of different positions fairly well. I'm not getting rid of an outfielder. It's got to be an infielder. So if we're going to activate Toglia, it has to be somebody like Hidalgo being demoted. Although, the question is, do we even keep Toglia? Now, this is an example, by the way, right? Like, this is an example. I said I tend to sign long-term contracts for people that don't really deserve them. He has been a productive player for us, over 100 home runs over his career. But there's not a world where I would keep a first base only player over somebody who's more versatile. Especially with Charlie Condon being able to provide similar levels of power to Toglia. Trading him makes sense. I just don't know if anybody's going to want him. Let's find out. I'm probably going to eat a piece of his contract or take a really shitty player. I don't want to take a player that's that bad. We will eat 50% of his contract. We have the money. It's not like we can't put it to... Okay, we're getting better prospects. We're not getting good prospects. We're getting better ones. Alex Lodies is actually pretty solid. He's a pretty well-rounded infielder. This is something I always value. Encarnacion is fine, I guess. What if we did something crazy? What if I ate his entire salary? Can I get like a really good prospect for him? I've got to weaponize my finances somehow. If I can get really good players as a result, I think it's worth taking. Um, Give me a package of Prospectorinos. And then what I can do is once I find the package that I like, I can start reducing the sum here. I don't know why Colin Ritchie is so highly rated, but he is a very well-rounded hitter. And there's a planet where he just like shipped into first base or something. I think he is worth acquiring. And I think Jack O'Connor is a pretty tasty two-way player. This is the package that I take, and let's start stepping back our salary contributions here. Okay, 20% of his contract to make this a guaranteed deal is pretty great. I'd love to add another prospect, but I'm not delusional enough to ask. Well, let's ask for somebody that's like already on the way out, like a Joey Gartrell. Okay, Gartrell is way too much. That's what I expected, to be honest with you. I don't really need another outfielder, although he can play center, which makes him slightly more valuable. Okay. For 25% of the salary, I can get these three prospects. I think this is very much worth it, and we're going to complete the trade. Um, so thank you, Toglia, for your service to the Rockies. You're a former Rocky now. And the other three guys, I guess, will just go wherever it is that they go. We'll worry about it later. Where are the new guys? Okay, he's in AAA. Richie is in Rookie League. That's way too low for him. Dreiling is in AA. Richie, you probably should be in High A. I'm thinking. Alright, we gotta get rid of somebody from High A to take a spot. Carlos Renzulo is still sort of useful, but this is awful. He will never draw walks, and that means if he's not hitting like home run after home run, yeah, Renzulo, you can find a new team somewhere else. Yes. We're going to keep a close eye on Colin Ritchie. High A is actually probably too low for him also. But he's barely played in the major league. He's barely played professional baseball, so giving him a chance to tune up a little bit in High A, and then promoting him next month probably makes sense. That's Toglia dealt with. That I guess is one thing we can use all of our money for, right? Is we can use it to get ourselves out of bad contracts and still get decent quality players in return. Yeah. So. The Yard Goats are over their roster limit. Are they really? Oh, they sure are. They sure are. Carlos Torres has very clearly stalled out. He's 26 years old. He's putting up good numbers in AA. I think that's admirable. Oh, actually, no. Montilla, there's a non-zero chance he ends up in the major leagues at some point, so I can't get rid of him, even though he is relatively ancient compared to the rest of AA, but I think Torres we can safely say goodbye to. Unless it's Braxton Hyde instead. Actually, I think Hyde is a worse choice to keep around, so we're going to let him depart. There we go. Done. All right. We're off to an okay start, mostly because both Condon and Romo are playing out of their minds, which I love for us. but it's definitely not something that we can count on consistently, right? But it's still way too early in the season to like give any sort of proper adjudication or consideration of who is worthy and who is not. We're still way too early in the season for that. Jack O'Connor's improving. Ozuna's improving. O'Connor is still very fringy in terms of major leaguer, but he has definitely shown some serious growth. I just acquired him. Okay. Oh, yes, he is a semi-useful two-way guy, but we're going to let him show off his stuff. Possibly literally. Colin Ritchie is getting better. Brock Silvers is getting better. Very good. Ozuna is really close to joining the Major League team. Very, very close. Very, very close. Too in the season to really trust these numbers, but at least so far they seem not terrible. Okay. Let's just plow on to the beginning of June, and then we can make some informed decisions once we have more data and we can process how people are doing. We're not scoring a ton, which does give me some concern. I said it's versus they score 13-0 against the Pirates. Spokane Indians are over their roster limit. Are they now? They are. Hey, Yuri Pineda. I mean, at what point do you keep a player just because of his leadership when he's actually pretty bad at his job? I mean, if it's between him and Nascimento, I think we get rid of Nascimento. I don't think there's any point in keeping both of them, so we can release them just fine. Sure. We're very competitive this year. Okay, Cole Carrick for 8 months is kind of lame. Who's the next man up in the infield? It's probably Bonacci here, because I don't really have anybody else. So I think we'll call him up. Andy Perez is very much a possibility, although his offensive skills are very lacking. He has one trick, which is not striking out, which is not usually enough. I've got some spots. We're going to do a quick promotion check once June rolls over. Let me rebuild my depth charts here. And that'll be fine. I want Rada to continue to play. Wait, we don't have any third baseman here? Oh, Carrick was playing third base for us there. I guess Bonacci can play third base against, yeah, it'll probably try to make me start McMahon instead. That doesn't. I want... Wait, you think Fernandez is better than Rada? Fernandez is supposed to be better than Rada. Maybe letting him play against lefties every once in a while is fine. Okay. New dilemma, which is what do we do with our minor leaguers? Alright. Let's start by looking at short seat. Let's actually start by looking at stats here and see who is ready for a promotion. Oscar Pujols, definitely worthy of a promotion. Let's get him into AAA. It's probably Dreiling or Yost. We did just have to promote an infielder, so I think letting Yost play in AAA now is probably fine. So who gets AA now? Let's find out. Tommy Hopfa gets promoted for sure. Dalis gets promoted. Moss gets promoted. Gage Harrelson, 10,000% gets promoted. And that's fine. Short season to low A to high A isn't something I really mess with very much. Um, Ryan Moore and Evan Rubin probably could use promotions, so let's put them both in A ball. And is there anybody else I want to promote? Not really. So I think we just kind of roll with the punches here. Camacho here can be promoted to high A. Pierce can be promoted to high A. Johnston to high A. Michaels to high A. And there we go. That's that. And we will, of course, refill the rookie leagues with draftees. Yes. Gordillo is probably Major League ready, or at least very close to it. Let's let him pitch in AAA a little bit longer. Alright, how are we doing statistically? Who is performing well, who is not performing well, and what do we need to do in order to keep building on our success so far this season? Evan Rubin is somebody truly special. I love seeing this stuff. This is somebody who just unlocked something special in himself, taking him from a 15th round pick to one of the best pitchers in the league. Hopefully his promotion to A-ball will help him continue to grow, but he is now a rising star that we're going to want to keep an eye on here. So let me put him under draft picks. Here we go. Justin Jarvis is the Rookie of the Month. That's kind of fun. That's kind of neat. Judd Fabian hit 3 home runs for the Knoxville Smokies. Okay. Cool. Nothing too interesting has happened with our own players here, so to speak. Alright. What do we got going on here? Let me reset this. Pardon me. Okay. Do we make room for Gordillo? How is the current team performing? Our starters have actually been brilliant this year. Our relievers have been mostly good except for Connor Eaton. Okay. Molina has lost 4 of his starts, but we take a look at his run support per game. He's getting very little scoring. That's why he's using, not because he's pitching poorly, but because, you know, he's having other issues. Nobody here is dominating so much they couldn't be replaced, but I want more time to see who should be replaced. Sullivan Kring looks like the odd man out. But he is doing his job, which is throwing innings, not giving up too many walks. He's not very exciting, but he is useful. Do we have anybody whose contract is coming up? Feltner has gone after this year. Flipping him early is probably very smart. Because he's already 31, he's not likely to get better. Let's check in the first... but his value won't be any higher than it is right now. It would temporarily weaken the team, but I think Gordillo or Ozuna would be a pretty nice addition to this rotation, and I want them to get a chance to show what they can do. Although Gordillo hasn't really pitched all that well in the high minors, he's got the talent that I think he is worthy of consideration. I don't know why he is allowing so many walks. This is fucking weird. For somebody that has the control that he does, to be walking this many hitters is deeply concerning to me. Maybe something he just needs a better coach to figure out, but I don't know, guys. One more month certainly wouldn't hurt to make the decision there. Is there any hitters that are really struggling? Brenton Doyle is. I'm going to bump him down the lineup. He still has too much value. He's just not a great hitter. Let's just bump him down. Let's swap him with let's do this. Rosario is really badly struggling. I guess. All right. So also Ryan McMahon is really struggling too. Lame. Are there any hitters in the high minors that are deserving of an opportunity? I mean, Shrek is doing what he is paid to do in the high minors, which is getting lots and lots of walks. And he's also driving the ball enough that it's worthwhile. Rada's doing okay. Maybe Rada needs a bigger role than he currently has. Oh no, he's already playing every day. Never mind. Do I have a starting third baseman on this roster? Probably not. Disappointing. Colin Ritchie could technically play third base. I think that might be his future for us. He wouldn't be amazing at it, but I think he'd be good enough. I probably just need to take some of these pictures that I have and just package them up to try to get a third base prospect. Let's look for third baseman. Because right now, I don't have a third baseman on the roster that I trust other than McMahon, who is very clearly not the player he used to be. This is another consequence of us not being able to trade for major leaguers, by the way, is I can't look for a patch. I have to look for a long-term solution every time I look. Santiago Leon, we can sign 100%. We couldn't give him a contract. Let me just grab up these guys here. Can I offer them all minor league contracts? I can. Let's do that. Luis Vasquez could, in a pinch, be a third baseman for us. Let's go ahead and snap him up, too. He wants a bonus. That's fine. Wait a minute. You son of a bitch. Get out of here. Lying to me. Telling me, oh, I have major league. I don't have major league experience. Sure you do, jerk. Concerning. We could offer Austin or be a contract, I guess. Alright, so this is gonna get us some, like, minor reinforcements. Pardon the pun. But I want something more substantial. I want a proper third base prospect if we can find one without giving up too much. Players. Prospects only. Hey, we can do that to save ourselves some time. I want a baseman of thirdness that has a potential of at least 50. Wow, there's a single third base prospect in the major leagues. That's a lot. I can't even call him a proper search all leagues, actually. There we go. That's what we needed to see here. Does anybody have a third baseman that is close to being major league ready? I want some minimal level of defense, like let's say at least like 40 to help narrow down my list here. Toronto's is way too much in the major leagues. That's disappointing. Angel Feliz is somebody I could be very excited about. It's probably going to cost me quite a lot to get him, but I am more than willing to try, right? I would give up Franklin Diaz for him. Although I do believe that Diaz is a pretty incredible relief pitcher, I want to see if I can at least. No, you're just like, I flat out refuse. Yeah, I'm not giving up Acevedo, so this is a pass from me. Unfortunate, but what if I just gave you a bunch of money? What if I gave you $30 million? No. Okay. Well, we tried. Alright, back to this. I would be over the moon if we could have acquired him, but alas, we're not so fortunate. I do have Colin Ritchie, so I do have somebody that can play third base. In a pinch. Tristan Murphy is genuinely terrible. He's a really good defender, and he's got some gap power, but I question his overall skill. We can at least talk about... No, we can't talk about him at all. Never mind. I like Luis Marquez. I could see him maybe being a useful player to have, but his arm strength is kind of weak, which is bad for a third baseman. That's pretty much the most important thing for a third baseman. Mitchell Cohen I could get behind. I think the Yankees are gonna. Oh, I can't trade for him anyway. Man, fine. What about Emil Morales? Is this a guy that I could potentially acquire? Okay, at least willing to have the conversation. That's a great start. What if I offered you Franklin Diaz? And Cooper Dossett. So for offer you Dossett and Diaz, you'll do it for Rada. The thing is that Rada is perfect for what I'm trying to accomplish here. Yeah, here's the thing. I need a third base prospect, and he's a very, very good one that could make the majors very rapidly. I know that you don't like it, but I think it is the right choice. Oh, wait, you guys need a bunch of money. What if I offered you $10 million and that was all I offered you? That does move the needle some. What if I offered you $10 million and... What's his face? Franklin Diaz. Does it have to be Diaz? Probably. Probably. Yeah, you can absolutely have Malachi Witherspoon, Franklin Diaz, and $10 million. Um, you're going to be a former Rocky for life. This is the right choice. This is absolutely the correct choice. We're going to make this trade right now. Emil Morales instantly becomes a third baseman that we desperately need for the future. My friend, you are a third baseman. You have accepted this as part of your fate. And we're just going to go ahead right now and send you right to AA. Well, you already are on AA. Genius. There we go. Probably too much, in light of what he is right this second, but I desperately needed a third baseman, and he can fill that role, if we need him to. So, All right, let's go up to the draft combine, and let's get ourselves some prospects. I probably oversold. In all honesty, I probably gave up too much. But whenever someone's got you by the short hairs, you kind of have to be a bit more aggressive. Colton Hartman, you can have been an A ball for years now. I think promotion to high A is fine. Um, we are probably to the point where we need to start challenging you. 23 is actually too old for high A. What if I just sent you to double A? Surely there's somebody that really sucks. Maybe. Yeah, Nomar Medina is not very good. Let's make room in double A for you. Yeah. There we go. I'm always going to question whether I should have traded Diaz, but I think it's probably fine. Probably. Let's keep going up to the draft combine. Tovar is actually quite important to me. I think back to what does it actually affect? It affects your ability to run. Do I shut him down for 2 weeks? Is he too important? Probably. Let's keep going, I guess. It doesn't make me feel great, but I don't know that I have a shortstop that I trust for 2 weeks besides him. So hopefully he is able to react quickly. Alright. First year draft combine. Oh, let me go to the other screen. This screen is better. I very much want to be in on any third base prospects this year, but again, it's taking the best prospects available and then trading them when you need to get something you don't already have. Guzman. This is about building up relationships as much as it is about anything else. Okay. We've got a lot of information on some of these guys already. I think it's probably fine to keep expanding our repertoire. Let's go another day. Alright, let's remove everyone who's very high. Love, Alvarado, Duenas, Kozalka. Because remember, we need to make sure that we are digging deep to try to find the gems as well as the really high value guys. I should probably look at my overall prospect picture and see what positions we might want to target in the future. Maybe. Okay, we're over the roster limit on for the Fresno Grizzlies. We're very busy people here. Any of you guys like dominating? Ruben is playing exceptionally well, but he has also barely played. Efrain, I think promoting you to high A is fine. I do recognize that Colin Ritchie can play third base, sort of, but I wanted another third base prospect, somebody that's a little bit better as a defender. So that's kind of where I was going with that. How are we doing on the combine? We only have 2 more days, so that's fine. We want to get as much information as we can on every single player that we can. If Franklin Diaz ends up being like a Hall of Fame level closer, you can laugh at me and tell me you told me so, but I still think it was a decision we had to make. Albuquerque is not over the roster limit. How rude. I feel like Hunter Owen probably needs to just commit to being an outfielder if he's ever going to be useful. But even then, the guy still strikes out too much. I've got to decide what to do with the two of you. Okay. Arias is 23. He's a center fielder. If any really low ranking, yeah, Matthew Priest is nothing special. I'm gonna kick him down to the rookie league, and we're gonna put Arias in Double A. As far as Jameson Hanna is concerned, I still think he's useful, but third AAA is already overloaded. What does Jesus Rodriguez have anything to recommend if he's a really good outfielder? That's his key ability. Okay. Okay. Does anybody want? No, Gavin Cross is somebody I'm at least somewhat interested in keeping around. Hmm. Hmm. I could just cut him again, which would be funny. But I do like his leadership. I think he could definitely help our people in the high minors. But he's also 30 years old, so maybe we just release him again. He's like, finally, I get to go. Aw, son of a bitch. Sorry. I still need to get rid of somebody, though, which is a true statement. I think Craig Yoho can go. Maybe somebody's going to be something for him, but I just don't think he is that good. Does anybody want to go Yo-ho-ho and a bottle of Craig? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. I'll just release him. I don't know why I keep thinking, no, actually Komar's even better to get rid of. We'll get rid of him instead. He has pitched exceptionally well in the high minors. It's just his actual skill set isn't terribly inspiring. So off you go. Plus, it doesn't cost you any money, which is also good to know. I'll finish today, and I think the combine is now over with. I believe. Maybe. Oh, no, we get one more day of the combine, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if want a guy named Bustard. That sounds like risk. Like, no, don't worry. I'm totally not a bust. Like, why is that your name? That's what my parents called me. Just a fair response, I think. But as much as we can about as many players as we can, so that when it's time to draft, we're in a good spot. I think that Franklin Diaz trade is really going to bite me in the ass. It looked like the fact that the moment he hit my system, he actually looked worse doesn't fill me with joy, but maybe it'll turn out fine. Ah, poop. Big stinky poop. I think it's literally the entire roster, isn't it? Let's just cut them all. You know? Just empty it out. And then I can start... Let me start promoting some of my international people, actually. Rodarte is really, really good. Alright. Let me filter by age real fast. I want anybody who is 18 or older. Is at least 18. And we're just going to promote them all to the appropriate place. Here you go. Y'all get promoted. Congratulations. There you go. And now we're back up to a full roster. Just like that. Oh, Christian Arguelles? I'm sure I'm butchering his name pretty badly. Yeah, not very exciting. He's been in the rookie league for like his entire career and he's been shitty every year. I mean, I guess I could free up a little room for you and let you play in the high minors, or in the A ball, but I just don't think it makes any sense to me. I think somebody else might sign you, and that's fine if they do, but I don't think you're that useful. Sorry, mate. Baseball's a cutthroat business, yo. Oh, the Grizzlies are over their roster limit again because somebody came back from injury. That's fine. Martorella here is pretty bad. We can let him depart. There we go. Now the yard goats are over their limit. How rude. I'd rather demote someone than cut them if they're already a double A. Unless they're like totally hopeless, which I don't think any of these guys are completely hopeless. Oh, probably mostly. I can't get rid of Daniel Jackson because I need a second catcher. That is a hard no. Carlos Torres is 27 years old, and he's been in Double A for 3 consecutive years, and he's never once really impressed. I think he can go. I kind of like the extra challenge that the roster limits provide. It forces me to be more creative. Matt Caterino is still somebody I'm interested in giving opportunities to, but maybe not right now. Maybe we let him rehab. How does our pitching look right this second? It still looks okay. It still looks like we're doing fine. Nobody is like playing himself out of a job clearly, except for maybe Cooper McKeon. Are you just getting like eviscerated by right-handed pitching? Is that your problem? Are you shutting down lefties? You are. So your problem is you're just pitching against. Actually, you're actually pitching pretty effectively. Except righties are lighting you up. Like, they're not hitting you often, but when they do, they're hitting you a very long way. So I probably just need to stop letting you pitch against righties at all. So good to know. I will remove that job from your job title from your resume. We could make Jaden Hill the closer, I guess. I kind of just want to let things go the way that they are right now. I don't really see any desperate need to get rid of people at this stage in our careers. We'll see what happens. A lot of people going ballistic. That's good news. Personal message: Vasquez wants to come back. Sorry, you have played in the major leagues, therefore you are scum. Isaiah's going to miss a couple of weeks. That's fine. That's okay. That's acceptable. We can just let the other relievers pick up the slack. Happy about starters ERA. You want more fans. I have given you several people that we drafted. Okay? Don't be fucking weird. Alright, we've got a lot of decisions to make about coaches. I think Toussaint has done an amazing job. I have no issues about him whatsoever. Let's re-sign him. I'm not even going to question it. There we go. I do want to eventually do like a big clear out of the minor leagues, so maybe we get a little bit more particular about who we keep. Who else is up in 2028? Tim Myers sucks. Zach Osborne is actually decent. Osborne gets a contract extension. There we go. Blaine Beatty is nothing special. Burmeister is fine. He's not exceptional, but he's fine. I don't feel the need to replace him immediately. Jerry Sullivan is average. If they're at least good, I'll consider keeping them, but if they're not at least good, I'll probably let them walk. Mark Ray is amazing. We're definitely keeping him around. I think he is better suited to be a manager than he is to be like a hitting coach, but he's really good at it, and he's a good pitching coach, so he will have a very fast ascent. And Sean Boyd equally gets re-signed. I think these guys are going to get a bigger role on this club for sure. Oh, Deduno might not even be eligible. He is. Alright. Deduno is really, really good. He's probably not a great pitching coach, but he's a good manager, so we can keep him around for that purpose. Javi Lopez is an excellent hitting coach, so we could definitely keep him around. And nobody else is up. Okay, everyone else who's 2028, you can take a nice vacation. Top 100 prospects, Rodarte slides in at number 10. We have the second best minor league system. The problem is, can Grady Emerson play third? Yes, he can. So I guess I didn't need him at all. Oh well. That's what happens, guys. That's what happens when you don't pay enough attention. So if they gave away Franklin Diaz for nothing, I still stand by it. Except that I don't. That was stupid. It was real dumb. I'm not going to bring Caterino to replace Matheson. We need an actual outfielder for that. Eduardo Beltre is not ready for the major leagues yet. He's very good defensively, but he's struggling to hit in the high minors. Not a good look. I think we bring back Shrek. You tell people to get out of his swamp. And then he can go ahead and slide in and play left field. That's completely fine with me. We can give him some reps in left field. That's fine. Okay. I don't wish to alarm you. We are a postseason team right now. If we're not as good as the Dodgers, I still think we're pretty good. We just want to keep working it up. Isaiah is getting even better. He's looking like a really nice picture for us, which is excellent. Yeah. I wish the walks would go away. That is your only weakness, is that you keep walking people for no reason. But you're a very effective pitcher, and you're just going to keep getting better, so I'm pretty excited about that. Rosario is getting better, but it's getting better at defense, which isn't necessarily what I was hoping for. Slavinsky's getting better. Nothing too wild is happening. That's fine. Padres Brown Tavares. Are I calling him Padres Brown Tavares? Doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, is that the name of the team? Okay, that's why. Mystery solved. Dylan Dreiling is the AA batter. He is vaporizing the AA. Okay, maybe he needs to go to AAA now. Maybe he is overqualified to be in AA. Jesus Rodriguez, my guy. I feel like getting rid of him is less good. What if instead I call up Dreiling and I send you to the minor? I send you to down to AA. Maybe that's the better choice. There we go. Done. That way we still keep them both in the system, but we get more information. Ryan McMahon is hurting his team pretty badly. He's just done, I think. So because he is just done, do we trade him? He will not waive his no-trade clause, which means I have to just cut him, which I could do. It is a possibility. But I also don't who plays third base if I let him go? Who's our third baseman at that point? I mean, Perez could handle it, but I don't think he's very good. It's probably Morales, in all honesty, if I just cut Ryan McMahon. That seems like a bad idea, but he's also definitely not helping at all. Um, I think he's probably just washed, but I think the moment I cut him, the fans are going to get mega pissed. Hidalgo can play third base. Let's let Hidalgo play third for us now. It's not an ideal solution, but I think it's a decent solution. Um, no, that's not true. We're going to put McMahon back in at third. I'm going to tell you why. McMahon is still an excellent defensive third baseman. He's still doing that part of his job. And I think we need him for that purpose. I think we just find somebody else to push up to second. So Romo definitely can handle hitting second. He's having an amazing season. Um, Fernandez can hit fifth, and Shrek can bat there. I need a thumper. I need somebody who can play right field extremely well, or somebody who can hit against left-handed pitching extremely well. Because we're going to make Command Stace as the fifth hitter. No, he gets replaced. Hidalgo is a right-hander, and he can play the outfield, so I think that's what we do. I think we let you DH against third baseman. And Bonacci is a perfectly acceptable defensive third baseman in the short term. Even though he is badly struggling, he's also barely played, so we can see how things go from there. Alright. That should help a little bit. I'm not guaranteeing it'll help a lot, but it should help a little bit. I think our top four is very, very strong. I think Charlie Condon is breaking out a little bit. I'd love to see more out of him. I still think there's even more to his game. But for right now, I'm happy with him. I'm very happy with these top four, and to a lesser extent, Yanquiel Fernandez. Do you have any hitters that are just begging for an opportunity? Not, Cam Canarella is sort of. Mr. Cannarella's problem is he's very good defensively, but he doesn't have a ton to offer in the offense department, but he's still decent. I'm not opposed to keeping him around. So here's the question. If we get rid of Ryan Feltner, does that hurt our chances of making any kind of postseason run? It probably does, to be honest with you. It probably does. I'm not giving him an extension. That I won't do. I have too many high-ranking young starters that need opportunities for me to do that. But I am keeping him for the rest of this year. I think that's fine. Jake Madden is missing time. Brenton Doyle has strained his groin. Unless you're hurt enough to stay to, like, go to the IL, I'm not going to bother with you. Jaden Hill just got suspended. What a dipshit. Jake Mann is going to miss 5 weeks. That's acceptable. So here's where Cantorino comes back, I think. I think that is a role he can handle. You can be a middle reliever for now. Cantorino, honestly, probably is about done. He's probably about ready to find a new team in the offseason. Maybe even now, but I want to give him that extra couple of weeks to see. Felder missing 5 to 6 weeks is not the end of the world. So the question is, who gets his rotation spot? It's probably Gordillo. I think Gordillo's got enough upside. He's pitched well enough in AAA. I think he's probably the call. Ozuna is the other choice. And Ozuna has pitched quite well in AAA, but Ozuna is also significantly younger than Gordillo, so I think giving you some extra reps in AAA is probably fine. And let's put you in the rotation for now. Tyler Herb is ready to come back, which is interesting. I am not opposed to bringing him back for the roster, given what he can accomplish. But nobody currently is pitching poorly enough to be replaced, in my opinion. Molina, kind of. What if I put you back in the bullpen and I just took you out of the rotation? Maybe that's appropriate. Yeah, you're barely striking people out, which makes you less effective. I guess we could send Molina to the bullpen and let Tyler Herb come back. I just question the efficacy of taking somebody who's already basically the same guy as Molina but way older and guaranteeing him a roster spot. I think we just go ahead and we put him on a rehab assignment for now. I'd probably just get rid of Cantorino if I'm honest with you. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe Cantorino is just done. He was a cool story that first season, but I think he's already well past his shelf life. Let's just get rid of him. I have too many young pitchers that need opportunities to keep around a guy who isn't that special. Nobody wants him. That's understandable. Cantorino, I'm going to designate you for assignment. I'll send you to AAA if I need to. So who gets called up to replace him? Possibly Herb. Possibly not. Possibly Escato, actually. Yeah, let's... No, Cato's left-handed. I don't want to promote Domingo or Ozuna yet. I want them both to get more reps. I guess it could be Domingo. Yeah, there's no rush with him. It could be Dorset. I'm not ready to push him beyond, but I will promote him to AAA. And I will do the same with Emil Morales. Let's make it Kato. And Kato can do some middle relief work for us here. Do I no longer have like a decent backup starter that may be reason to promote Ozuna instead? No, Connor Eaton can kind of do it. You can be emergency starter and long relief. There we go. Okay. Cool. Cool. What if Tyler Bell didn't do that? Oh, Rafael Ramirez Jr. is injured. What a shame. Andres Herrera is going to miss a whole year. Okay, fine. Let's get drafting. Where am I end up picking this year? I'm picking 15th. Okay. That's reasonable, I guess. All right. I want more dynamic hitters in our franchise. 100%. Let's start by looking at Ken Bem. Ken is pretty fantastic. He is pretty great. Excellent power, good gap power, pretty good contact. Can handle the infield fun, but is actually more of an outfielder. Like, he's probably an outfielder. Bem is definitely on my radar. 100%. Isaiah Swain is solid. I think he's a little bit less exciting, but he does offer us like a genuine high upside play at third base, although he's not brilliant at it. I like Gary Jensen too. I don't like Jensen as well as the others. I am passing up on 3 blue chippers. Maybe it's worth looking at the pitcher first. Manny Martinez is pretty fucking awesome. But I just think a high school starter isn't where I'm at. We want players that can contribute a little bit quicker. And so to that end, I think we're better off picking either Bem or Swain. Swain does have better batting eye. I guess that's Bem's big weakness, is he is going to strike. He's not great at taking walks, although that's something I guess we could work on, I suppose. And he's also not an infield, he's an outfielder. He's very much, with that weak arm, I could play him at second base and pretty much nowhere else. Swain is legitimately a decent third baseman. I think we take Swain. I want more quality hitters in the organization. We're going to meet his demand and go to the next pick. There was a tiny piece of me that hoped Manny Martinez would slip, but I knew he wouldn't. I knew it was never going to happen, which is whatever. Who ended up taking him, by the way? Who took Manny Martinez? Probably like right after me. Interesting. He fell to the supplemental round. That's wild. Okay. Mike Williams is somebody we're interested in. I don't think so. I think he's okay. I think he's smart. I think he's capable. I just don't think he's what we want. Steven Brockman we like quite a bit. Definitely a live arm. Throwing that hard. I think he could be decent. I think Brockman is a fine choice. I think we go ahead and take him and see what he can accomplish. I'm not going to go full college, but I did want to make sure that we got some of the more polished people before we expanded our consideration a bit. Adam Bryant. Abso-fucking-lutely not. This is a terrible player. His only skill is hitting for average. And while that's nice, he has no secondary skills whatsoever. Yeah, he is not ready for the major leagues at all. Oh, we like Alan MacArthur, do we? Why do we like Alan MacArthur? I guess he's a good catcher, but he's basically the same guy. Let's take one pitcher. Efrain Guzman seems like a good choice. Yeah. I could see this working out for us fairly well. Let's grab him. Done. We really like Alan MacArthur, I guess. He is a good catcher. He's actually a very good catcher, and maybe that makes him worthwhile, even if his offense isn't terribly amazing. Maybe being a really good catcher, and if he can work a bit on his secondary offensive skills, will be something useful. I'm going to let him slip one more round. I don't feel the need to grab him immediately. Let's instead look at Adam Bryant. Oh, we already looked at Adam Bryant, didn't we? Yeah, we don't want him at all. What about Matt Huffman? Matt Huffman is just Adam Bryant, but like 1% better. Stanford Albert. There's a lot of hitters in this draft that have very little power. That concerns me. Sterling Coffey, equally. Is that just this draft? Is this draft just that shallow when it comes to top-tier hitters? Maybe. Justin Cashin, I think is fine. I think he's a good pick. We can grab Justin here. Did I shortlist you? I didn't. Maybe our guy just has a type. I don't know, but I would love somebody who's like this. Okay. There is definite risk with Petrowski. He is very susceptible to striking out. But he's got great batting eye, incredible power. He puts the ball in play. He's fairly fast. He's got great makeup. He's not a great outfielder, but I think he is somebody I'm willing to take a chance on. I think this draft is that shallow an offense, high-level offense, that taking him is reasonable. I think it's a very reasonable choice. All right. My scout has been claimed for Stanford Albert since day one. Fine. I'm still not convinced he's going to be all that great, but you know what? Stranger things have happened, so sure. You got your wish, now shut the fuck up about him, okay? You want coffee too, so we can have two first basemen with basically the same skill set? Um, fine. I feel like I'm being bamboozled here, but I guess I should trust my scouting director if he's got strong opinions. Um, I like you quite a bit. I do think there's issues with you, but I think you are very worthy. Oh no, you're not. Your pitches suck. You have very, very ineffective pitches, so maybe not. Ramon Aguayo. I agree with this. I think he's a fine choice. Let's add him to the club. Welcome aboard, Roach. You. But okay. Wish I'd known that was your nickname. I might have changed my mind. Nick Bigger. I mean, he is what he says on the tin. Let's grab him. Easy pick. He wants a lot of money. I'm willing to pay him that money. Money is something I have plenty of. Let's use it effectively. Alright. Sam Walker. What is Sam Walker's deal? Why do we like him so much? I guess. Clearly he's developing a type which is people that don't strike out, and while I don't hate that, I think you need more. But you know what? One last time, you can have your way. Alright, let's start looking for tools. Let's go whole hog. Who has incredible stuff in this draft? With some ability to deliver it where they're supposed to. Dan Morales seems like a pretty good fit. Great pitch types, throws very hard. His control isn't the best, but I still think he is a very high quality choice here. So we're gonna snap him up. Done. Auto draft. Hitters. I would love a hitter with an incredible batting eye that still has the other skills he needs. It's Brian Eason. Absolutely. 100%. We take that. We take that kind of player every single time. Greg Lewis. Now, Greg Lewis is a terrible catcher, but I think that's all right. I think he might have a future as a first baseman or as a DH. He can work on the strikeouts. That's fine. We can take Greg here. For maximum Greg, you never want to find yourself with a minimum Greg. That's just advice. That's just life advice right there. Don't pass up on the Greg when it becomes apparent. We like Carlos Deonda. I don't dislike him either. I think he's fine. I think he is acceptable. Sure. Let's shift back now to the other scouting view, and let's see who my scout wants to take. He wants to take David Frazier. I don't hate it, but I'm not convinced he's a great pick, but I don't hate it. Or Radford University is. I've never even heard of it. We could get Doctor Who. I'm fine with this. I think he's okay. I have to get him a scarf. Yeah. Kasim Ito Clell. Hell. Man, my scouting director has a definite type. I guess we can try him out. Sure. But, like, I don't know why he's obsessed with people that just don't strike out. That seems really stupid to me. DJ Kenny is fine. He is nothing elite, but he is acceptable. You can bring him along. 2 picks left. What other super elite tools do we have left? We have Um, Kevin Bain's got a live arm. That's pretty solid. And I guess we'll take Jaden Bright. Sure. Welcome aboard, Jaden. We did it. Draft concluded. A lot of people want a lot of money. I have money to spare, so we will provide that money happily. Low key, Nick Bigger in the 9th round might be one of the steals of the draft. 100%. We didn't get any blue chippers this draft, but I think that's okay. I think we got very good players that have pretty high ceilings, and that's really what you're looking for here. I didn't get like the trend. I didn't really get a guy that I consider transformational except for maybe Swain, and even then, Swain is definitely a risk. But every player is a risk. We're all risks on this blessed day. Madison can return. Madison was having a really good year before he got hurt. I think bringing him back is pretty reasonable. Especially over Shrek. So let's send him back to the minors, and we will bring Matheson back. And Matheson can slide right in here and provide some offensive capabilities. That's pretty good. All right. Not the hops. Oh, Cantorino has cleared waivers. Let's send him back to AAA, I guess. After the All-Star break, I'm gonna start going through the minors. We're gonna make some promotions. I have quite a few openings in the high minors, and I want to make sure that the best players get their opportunities. Probably even promoting. I want to move low A to double A and double A to triple A, so I can make room for some of these rookies who are going to want to be playing in the short season leagues. They're not going to want to start in a rookie league. All right, All-Star game rosters. Who from Colorado made it? Drew Romo. And that's it. We got one All-Star. That's kind of lame, actually. We're actually a pretty good team this year. I'm a little disappointed we only got one All-Star, but fine, I guess. Concerning. I mean, we're not that bad, are we? How did Ezekiel Tovar not get consideration? Over, like, Mookie Betts. Well, Mookie Betts is incredibly popular. That might be part of it. We have other All-Star caliber players, okay? We just do. If that means that the All-Star team didn't recognize them, that's on them, not on me. Pitchers, okay, that's fair. That's probably reasonable. Gordillo's having a pretty rough time of it, but he's also barely pitched, so we'll give him some more chances. Molina keeps getting worse. This is kind of what I thought might happen. I think Molina comes out of the bullpen, or goes into the bullpen. Or we just don't keep him at all, but I think in the bullpen he's fine. Where his weaknesses are less obvious. I think it's Ozuna time. Or Domingo time. He's having a better year in AAA. You're both kind of struggling a bit. Okay. Not good. Not good. Anyways, for now we'll just keep going. So Pecan Indians are over their roster limit. Let's find somebody to promote. Let's promote Colin Ritchie. I think he deserves it. Maybe he does need more reps at high. No. He's already 23. The other person I promote would be Grady Emerson. And he's also struggling. Is anybody playing like at a very, very high level? Oh god, Francisco Rongel's getting his ass beat. Damn. Nobody's truly exceptional, but I think Grady Emerson can be promoted. That'll solve that particular issue. Spokane Indians are over the roster limit again. I feel like pushing Sal Delgado to Double A is probably not a great idea yet. He's still super young for his league, and I'd like him to finish the season out with him, I think. Let's promote James Rate. That's fine. Personal message, people are retiring. Okay, that's fine. That's acceptable. Let's look at some of our new rookies. Isaiah Swain absolutely is 21 years old. We could definitely put him in A-ball. I think there's no reason for him to start in the rookie league unless like there's something really compelling. Um, Aguayo can be promoted to A-ball, and Mike Lay is ready for A-ball now. There we go. All right, let's keep going. Oh my god, would you quit putting people over the limit? All right. Dax Hardcastle is like no one's playing especially well in A-ball. That's not true. We have some people that are playing pretty well, but for the most part, they're not. Um, I'm gonna promote Hartshorn simply because I need him to play against tougher competition. No, okay, it's Richie. He's 23 years old. He shouldn't be an A-ball anyway. That's fine. And all just like that, the high minors are all full, so we'll have to make some decisions here as time progresses. All right, we're at the trading deadline. What do we do now? What is the path forward? The thing is, I don't think there is anybody that we could easily acquire that would make a difference, especially this low. Like, without the ability to add major league caliber players, we can only add prospects. I don't see us making any kind of like quick patch on the season. We could still go to the deadline. Somebody might want something of mine, but for right now, I'm not that impressed. Um, Let me look at hitters. Any position is fine. At least 50 potential, at least 40 defense. It's going to be a bunch of people, which is completely fine. I'm looking for players that are somewhat close to being Major League ready. That's my goal. I don't need a shortstop, otherwise I would very strongly consider Mr. LeBron here, but I don't need a shortstop. I already know that you won't give me Triantos because I've asked. I also don't know that I want him either. Looking for the milk, the minor league contracts. It's Cam Canarella. He's already mine, though. I can't trade for him, nor should I don't think. A lot of these are guys that are just, they haven't done anything yet. Chase LaViolette. I would actually be pretty happy to grab him if you're willing to part with him. Is he right-handed? He is left-handed, but I think that's okay. What would this cost me? Something pretty good. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but I'm not going to give up any of my top three pitchers. I'm not going to go Colin Ritchie because I think I need him. What about Cooper Dossett? No, Cooper Dossett is too much. Or is not enough, rather. Okay, fine. What about Canarella? No. I'm not giving up an elite prospect for a player like that, so I will politely decline. And let's just keep looking. I guess I could have offered the money. What about James Quinn Irons? Same deal. Hmm. Dossett doesn't move the needle. They don't need money. What if I offered you Canarella and Barr? Okay, this very clearly moves the needle a lot for you. What about Ojeda? Can I drop Dossett from this? I think this is a great deal. I know that Ojeda and Barr are both reasonably skilled pitchers, but they both have flaws, and Quinn Irons could start for us like right now. He's also a right-handed bat, which is something that we need. So yes, 100% we're making the deal. And let's instantly add him to the major league roster. Like he's not spending a single second in the minor leagues for me. He's too good. Who does he replace? Good question, actually. I think Fernandez has had too much time to actually prove that he can handle his job. I mean, I guess we could also use Hidalgo instead, because Hidalgo does have that ability to play lots of different positions. But does anybody want Fernandez? Because Quinn Irons is really good, and I want him to be playing in the major leagues right now. Okay, people are willing to make some deals here. Here's Lodi's again. I think he's probably fine. Back to my trade deal, you nerd. I think Lodi's is fine. I think he's a pretty good return. I guess it could be Kyle DeGroat instead, but I think he's a better fit. Mweth is okay, I guess. Ty Head is decent. Can I get Head and Mweth for him? If I could, I would chalk that up as a pretty good deal. Yep, we can make this happen. Done. This then opens up a roster spot for Quinn Irons, who instantly goes there. Who's gonna play here? It's gonna be Quinn Irons. You're gonna play. Oh wait, we need someone to DH instead. That's fine. You can DH. I believe in you. Is Matheson really good in left field? He's actually absolutely fantastic at it. Let's DH you and put Matheson and Quinn Irons in left field. And then Rosario has been kind of shitty, so let's go ahead and put Quinn Irons in left field against righties as well and have him play left field. Great. Yeah, I'm into it. Cool. Anything else that I want? Do we trade Feldner? We can't because he's hurt. Okay. And nobody else's contract is almost up, so that's not going to matter. Okay. I would trade Ryan McMahon, but I have a feeling he doesn't want to be traded. He would consider a trade to certain teams. Let's at least raise the option. What if I ask for a prospect package? Okay, I'm going to have to eat part of his salary. I kind of expected that. What if we start at 50%? Does that get me anything? Or is he just too old and nobody wants him? What if it was 75%? What if it was 100%? Probably not. I think he's just not getting traded. He doesn't want to be traded, which is perfectly reasonable. I guess I could go through his list and see what might be available. Neither of you count as that. Let's make Yanquiel Fernandez a former Rocky. Here we go. So okay, so who did he want to be traded to again? McMahon would be willing to take a trade to. Look at the Cubs. Okay, he'll consider a trade to the Cubs, we think. The Cubs are in win now mode, so they might be willing to give me something decent for him. Okay. Prospects, let's ask for Thomas Mangus. He's an extreme injury risk, but he is also 25, which means he's just about ready for the major leagues. Oh, what about Nelson Calijo? No. What if I just ask for Mangus? I'm not giving up a prospect. That's the difference here, right? What about Zach Root? No. Yeah, I don't want to trade him for nothing. He still has defensive value, so I think maybe I just end the deadline for me. I guess anybody else I'm willing to trade right now. You would give me Spencer Steer, who is 30 years old and therefore uninteresting. And then we're just going to end the day. I feel like that was a fairly productive deadline, even if we didn't get rid of anything too special. But I think Yanquiel Fernandez was just kind of stuck with us, so I'm pretty happy that he is still with us. Or that we got something useful for him, and Quinn Irons here. Rada's been really good. Nelson Rada's been a really nice find for us, which I'm pretty happy about. Some marginal improvement, which is much better than going the opposite direction here. Okay. Any open roster spots in the higher minors? There is one. What about this version of A-ball? Will Levy's actually played pretty well. Let's do Ariel Dehigo instead. Let's promote him to AA. That opens up a spot in rookie ball. I think Mario Acevedo is genuinely ready for A-ball. I know he's only 18, but he's pitched very, very well. And I think it's time to give him a bit more pressure and see if he accepts it or if he wilts. All right, we could bring Jake Madden back if we want. I need to step away. I'll be back shortly. All right. Jake Madden, what do we do with him? He still has value to me. I still think he has some upside. He's a fairly good long man, and he's not that far removed from an excellent season in AAA. What do I do with him is the question. I think Connor Eaton needs more time to season in the minor leagues. He's been pretty bad, so I think swapping him for Madden makes sense. So let's bring Madden back. Where'd he go? Here he is. You're going to fulfill that role of being the emergency starter now. If one of my starters gets seriously hurt. Actually, for whatever reason this year, Molina is getting hit pretty hard. Maybe a lesser role for him would help. Madden, I'm going to let you start. And I'm going to have Anthony Molina be the emergency starter and long reliever. Let's give him a simpler task and see if he can figure it out. Possibly. All right. Oh, Gordillo's already 26. We don't need to worry about him. So the question then becomes, who goes from AAA? I could demote somebody who's playing very poorly. Is anybody just utterly hopeless? Willie Fanis is really struggling quite badly, and he barely played in Double A, so I think sending him to Double A would probably be pretty helpful. I think it's LeBaron Johnson, though. There we go. Problem solved. Let's go to roster expansion. Damn, the Orioles and Red Sox are really fighting it out this season. That's pretty wild. Double A's over the roster limit again. It's people coming back from injuries what's causing this. As people come back from injury, I need to figure out what to do with them. Tyler Herby is hurt already. We're gonna get Ryan Feltner back pretty soon, so we have to make some decisions there too. Dion Jorge is actually performing fairly well, even though I don't think he's got a huge future for me. He's not hopeless. Cade Denton is doing fine. This kind of stinks, but this is just how it is. You have to make hard decisions. Actually, it's probably Montilla, because he's already 32. I think keeping him in Double A is a waste of time. So we'll do that. Ryan Feltner can come back. He's actually having a really good season. Maybe that means Jake Madden goes back to the minors. Or maybe it doesn't. I could send down Molina. That is not a terrible idea. I could also just release Sanchez. I still think he's a really good bullpen arm, though, and I want to give him the chance to grow, even if it means sacrificing a bit of. I mean, then again, I'm kind of a playoff team, right? I think I'm still in playoff position. So maybe I want somebody that helps me more right now, which would be Feltner. And that way I could keep. I feel like Molina needs some time in AAA anyway. We're going to demote him and we're going to bring back Feltner. Feltner's going to start in Madden's place. And Gordillo takes Madden's spot. And then you can do some more emergency starting and long relief. That's reasonable. What do I do about AAA being overcrowded right now? Carson Palmquist isn't that far removed from actually like pitching meaningful innings for me and pitching quite well. But he's also struggling really badly. He's already 27. I think this is probably just it for him. So let's I think it's Cantorino actually. Yeah, keeping Cantorino seems kind of dumb. He's already 30, and it's unlikely we'll ever bring him back, so let's release him. That's fine. He can maybe pick up with somebody else. Potentially. Now AAA is over the limit. Okay. Hmm. Cam Cannarella is playing exceptionally well in AAA. I probably just need to give him a chance in the majors for too long. Maybe that's something we could do. I can't demote anybody, I don't think. I mean, I guess I could demote somebody from high A to low A. like Costello here, and then I could go somebody from double A down to high A if they're young enough. That's always the tricky part, though. They have to be young enough first. I guess it could be Johnny Anderson, and then I could demote Andy Perez. No, Andy Perez is actually playing well. Who is playing poorly? It is Willie Fanos. He's going to go down to double A. There we go. Problem solved. Gotta shift that roster around, right? Tyler Herb is eligible to come right back. We're going to let him rehab. This lets you temporarily, by the way, exceed the roster limit because he's just there on rehab. The Grizzlies are now over their limit. Well, that's A-ball. Bobby Vega is still way too good to be cut or anything, but he is obviously struggling quite badly. Let's send him back to Rookie League. I think is reasonable. I think that's a reasonable solution to our problem here. I am making the postseason, aren't I? Maybe I'm not. Penny Chase isn't available yet, but it will be here in September, which is fine. But we're in second place in the NL West. Surely that counts for something, right? Fresno is... Oh my god, Francisco Rangel fucking blows. You're going back to the Rookie League. Like, you are one of the worst players in the entirety of professional baseball. I hope you can figure out what you're doing. Because that is not great. 3 weeks for Quinn Irons. I guess this is Cantarella's time then. I was just getting through saying how Cantarella probably deserves some major league time. This is it, I guess. He is left-handed, so he's not ideal, but I think he is acceptable. So let's get him playing left field for us. I think Cantarella's true value is possibly supplanting Brenton Doyle one day because he's a very, very good center fielder. Not as good as Doyle, but pretty good. So if we decide to get rid of Doyle someday, then Cantarella's probably got the inside track. Okay. I think we have a much easier path to the postseason if we could somehow overtake the Dodgers. I know that's probably a big ask, but that would be the ideal path forward, is that we keep plugging away and we're able to put together a nice little winning streak here. Would be delightful. Truly delightful. Charlie Condon is really coming to his own this season. And again, I think the real amazing part is there is still more here. If he can start hitting in the 270 to 280 range and bring up his OBP by a sufficient amount, if he could cut down the strikeouts, I think we have like an MVP caliber player. Truly believe that. Miguel Archuleta is kind of dominating in the Dominican League. We probably need to consider promoting him, but we need to open up some spots first. That's more of a off-season kind of task. We need to put together some... Oh my god, quit being over roster limit. I mean, C. De Los Santos is basically trash. Let's send him to the Rookie League, and you can figure it out, I guess. Maybe he'll be back one day. Who knows? Okay, Sean Sullivan isn't that crucial to my efforts. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick little swap. I'm going to put Madden in his rotation spot and then just let Sullivan be emergency starter. I think that's probably fine. That should take enough off of his plate that he won't get more seriously hurt. Yeah. Chivilli is still playing at a pretty high level. The big difference this series, he's just getting hit slightly harder. He's also walking more people. The walks need to stop as soon as you can manage that, guys. Gavin Cross got 5 hits. Cool. All right, Tyler Herb's time has run out. I will bring him up just because I think it's fine and it gives me another emergency starting option. I also want to bring up at least one position player to get in some experience. Ozuna's played really well this year. Ozuna probably deserves to start, or at least get some reps in the majors too, which I think is fine. Dorsett could be promoted, maybe. Let's bring Shrek back, and let's let Shrek get some reps as a backup, maybe. That's acceptable. That is a fair decision. There we go. You want Matheson playing left field more frequently? I have no problem with that. But he is a bit more less reliable against left-handed pitching, but wanted to play every few days. I don't want McMahon DHing. I just don't. So if I don't want McMahon DHing for any reason, then maybe Shrek can DH for him. Maybe Rosario can try DHing again. I don't know, though. He's kind of in kind of shit. He's not totally hopeless, I guess. I guess he's fine. And Abdalgo's not doing anything to really prove he deserves the spot, so I guess we do this. And I think we move up Doyle here. If I'm gonna play McMahon, I might as well let him play third. So then Bonacci gets taken out of the lineup, and then we can either try Matheson. Let's try Matheson. Let's actually let Matheson DH for us. I think that's reasonable. I think that's probably fine. There we go. Cool. What else? What else? I think that's fine. Ozuna has really impressed me, and Ozuna is 100% on the roster next season. Actually, Jake Madden is really shitty now. What happened to you? What did you lose? Okay, why do you look like a 38 now? It says here you should be a 41 still. Give me a quick scouting report on him, please. And then let's see how he is. Because if Matt is playing that poorly, I don't want him in the major leagues anymore. Oh, Feltner's going to miss another 4 weeks. I don't care at this point. I'm sorry your shoulder hurts, but you're an important part to our success. We can have Quinn Irons back, which I definitely want. Probably more than Shrek. Let's demote him again. Sorry, Shrek. He's probably very grouchy with me because I keep demoting him, but I still think it's the right choice. Canarella is not playing well, so we're going to let Quinn Irons have his job back. And I'm even going to bump him up a little bit against right-handed pitching. Let's have him hit right about here, I think. Because he is actually hitting for a very high slugging percentage. So he is putting the ball in play. He's driving the ball. Alright, do I have my scouting report on Madden yet? Felder wants to come back. It's not an impossibility. He also wants a raise, which is probably fine. But he might already be hurt anyway. And if that's the case, his value drops a bit. He doesn't want that much money. You know what? I think this is fine. I think it's reasonable to give him a 3-year contract for a fairly small sum, and then if it turns out he sucks, then we can get rid of him. His domains have dropped enough that I'm willing to consider it. Fucking yard goats, always over the damn roster limit. Put Halverson on the IL, you morons. I mean, I need to just get rid of somebody, is the true story here. Or send him back to single A or whatever. Fauski and Cassia are playing very, very well. They need to stay where they are. Nick Wagner, I can send you back to high A, I guess. Or low A, rather. Cool. Personal message. I'm losing JT Green. Okay, that's fine. Why the hell do I not have my scouting report on Madden yet? Just falling asleep? Okay, so Feltner did take his extension, which I'm pretty happy about. Yeah, he's a 38-38. Madden has gone from being a useful player to somebody I don't give a shit about at all. Give me Ozuna. And give me Ozuna in the rotation. I think you're more than ready to handle this job now. So, good luck to you, my friend. Good luck. Man, this is an extremely tight wildcard picture. Mostly because of the NL East. And especially how good the NL Central was this year. Like, this is pretty nuts. We clinched the wild card. Amazing. Jack Mahoney is retiring. That's fine. Victor Vodnik is throwing even harder now, which is pretty wild. Ozuna's better. Condon's better. Thielen is better. A lot of improvements here, which is great to see. I thought Colin Ritchie maybe couldn't handle Double A. It's clear that I was wrong. Isaiah Smith is improving pretty quickly, which is awesome. Mike Lay is getting better. Nice. Very nice. Hidalgo is going to miss about a week, we think. Let's just go to the start of the playoffs and make some decisions here. So we did make the postseason, which is pretty incredible. It's the first time we've actually made it with the Rockies. We're a decent team. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to win the World Series. I'm not that delusional, but I think it's definitely possible. Who is not on the roster that deserves to be there right now? Really nobody. I think we can just leave this as is. I think this is fine. During the first round here, we only need 3 starters. I think Ozuna and Gordillo go to the bullpen, I think. And we'll just make them both like middle relievers or something. Just use them whenever you want. I don't really care. But when we get into the 4th round, if we make it past the 1st round, then we'll have some decisions to make. Yeah. All right. Jarvis got creamed. That's not terribly shocking. And Feltner got beat too. I'm not that surprised. You know what? The Phillies were a really, really good team. For us to lose to them, I don't think is any shame. We're still growing, right? We're still showing what we can accomplish. And the more that we can push the envelope, the better. Like, this is not our last postseason appearance. We need... Feltner will be back in 2 more weeks. That's whatever at this point. I don't care. Yeah, these are still very young players that don't have experience in the postseason. So just getting a little bit of seasoning is pretty good. That's a pretty nice opening to a potential longer postseason run in the future. Fucking Baltimore is probably going to win the World Series again. I don't know why they're so ridiculous in this game when they're not in real life, but, you know, that's fine. Condon led the league in home runs. That's pretty exciting. Oh, nice. The Reds won instead. Baltimore. You can't win them all, jerks. Well. It's okay. I'm very happy with how he performed. I'm very, very happy. Or a team trainer retired? That's kind of lame. Wait, who's retiring? That I retired number 28. Is that Ryan McMahon retiring? Oh, it's Tyler Herb. Wait, what? Oh, it's Nolan Arenado. Okay, that makes sense. But I say we're not fucking retiring a number for Tyler Herb, who we made relevant. Yeah, my team trainer retired. Other people are leaving. Okay, we have some interesting coaching decisions to make next episode. No Rockies in the top 10. That's rude. Although Rodarte is number 14, we've seen it turn some of this high talent into great performances. So, how do we do offensively this year? Who were our big stars? Who can we expect more from going forward? Ezekiel Tovar might be one of the hardest working players that doesn't regularly make the All-Star team. He has been rock solid from day one, and I'm very happy with how he has performed for us. Very, very happy. Yeah, he's just really good. He is. Even if it's a little bit of a down year in some aspects, his power is there, and that makes him so much more dangerous. We have Drew Romo, who, look, he got a big contract extension. Unlike a lot of players, he didn't immediately start like shitting the bed. He's continued to perform at a very high level. He's even gotten better at base running, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, he was very, very good. Charlie Condon is blossoming into a superstar in his own right. Brenton Coyle, for a man who provides minimal offensive value, he's really good defensively and really good on the base paths. Nelson Rada has clearly settled in to being what we've needed for the past couple seasons, which is a really reliable on base guy, a really reliable leadoff guy. Very happy with him. Madison was a nice little discovery. We brought him aboard last season. He barely played. This year he played most of the time and actually played pretty effectively. Amador is probably overpaid from what he actually provides, but he is a pretty good second baseman, and he does provide some offensive value, even if it's not a ton. This concerns me more, actually. The fact that he's really struggling to run the bases effectively saps him some of his value, but I still think he's fine. Ryan McMahon is probably almost done. I need him to at least give me one minor bounce back year, even if it's something similar to 2027, so that I can flip him for somebody else. He's still a positive impact in the field. He's still a good defender at third base, and so keeping him for that purpose is still fine. Quinn Irons didn't play a lot, but when he did play, he showed he's got some offensive chops. He's definitely going to need some work, though. 100%. Cartaya was fine. Bonacci probably needs to go. We probably need to find a new everyday utility guy. Between him and Hidalgo, we really struggled. We didn't have the deepest of benches this year, and I think that's probably one of the things that hurt us in the stretch. We had a lot of stars. We even had an all-star, but we didn't have the deep bench that we really need to see for us to be one of the better teams in the league. Pitching-wise, this year was very shocking to me. We pitched extremely well, which is very challenging, obviously, in Colorado. Feltner, Jarvis, and Dollander were a pretty solid top three. Gordillo pitched really well. He just needs more time. The only pitcher was bad was Sanchez. We kind of expected that. Sanchez will definitely be going to the minor league, so. Was bringing Feltner back a mistake? Probably not. I think this contract is very small, so if it turns out that he isn't able to give us something similar next season, I still think we'll be fine. Justin Jarvis was a really fun find this year. And I think he might have an outside chance of getting Rookie of the Year. He definitely deserves it for how well he pitched this season. So really excited about that. Excited to see if he can build on his success next year. his shelf life is going to be incredibly small. He's maybe got 3 years in the league before. If he loses a tick off of his fastball, he's basically doomed. He's very marginal, but for right now, he does the job and he does it well. Dollander is still kind of a disappointment. I was really hoping that he would be an ace by now, and he's just decent. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but I would like more out of him if we could make that happen. Maybe there's another level to his game, perhaps, that we can take advantage of, but for right now, we really need a starting pitcher to take over a season, to just go out there and just pitch their absolute minds out. And I don't think that's going to be easy in Colorado. I just don't think it's very easy. But we can hope. We can hope that guys like Ozuna and Gordillo can improve. We can hope for more reinforcements from guys like Vic Domingo. There are possibilities here. Very big possibilities. But that is it for today's episode. A quick shout out to Cole Carrick. Hopefully he comes back next season. I love his versatility. I love players like this. And I think he is worthwhile to bring back for sure. But we're going to have some decisions this season, all season for sure. Some of them are going to be easier than others, but we'll figure that out in a minute. Until next time, my friends, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.